Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, the show where you come for your rambling geeky download. My name's Tommy, and I am delighted, as always, to be joined by my friend and co-host from across the pond. It's our resident flirkin of the pod, DL. How are you, mate?
I'm good. I hope you're allergic to me as well.
I'm not allergic to flirkin.
I'm a bad person sometimes, and I just want to
flirkin
all over you.
I don't know if those words are good or bad in that order.
Well, you don't know what it means.
No, I
Which
don't.
is either intriguing or very, very sinister. I'll let you
Almost
decide.
as sinister as last week when we were pretending to be cannibals to freak out old mate Reeves.
Speak for yourself.
For anyone who doesn't know, by the way, a flirkin is directly from this movie we're talking about this week, which is The Marvels.
The Marvels. Ooh, yay.
Another
Marvels.
MCU movie. You remember when it
Ooh,
used to be
yeah.
exciting to talk about the MCU?
It's been a while.
It's
It's been a long while.
I gotta say, though, I did just release a YouTube video which was effectively saying why the hate for this movie. And, you know, I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with this movie. We're going to talk about it.
I'm
But
happy
you
to
seem-
offer a counter perspective.
You seem less fine with
And,
it.
as they say, a compare and contrast between two unique points of view.
Yes, I like that. And that is exactly what we bring to this podcast. DL, I had so much fun with you this week. We went to watch Andrew Schultz, a phenomenal comedian. I appreciate you getting that ticket because, my God, he was funny.
Yeah, that was awesome. I think I have he's my FOMO. I wish I could go hang out with him.
Yeah. Oh my
I was
God.
following him on. I'm like a fanboy. I was following him on Instagram, and he had a boat in Sydney Harbor. I was like, he just had the best weekend.
So
He's too famous now, though. He's
So-
he's good. He doesn't need to hit up the locals to.
on the down low,
Yeah.
I have a friend at work. Now, she's not anymore. She used to be an influencer. She has been on a certain TV show, which is actually now a global TV show, but she's out of that spotlight. But when she was living in New York, she was in the same circles that Andrew Schultz used to run in, but they just never crossed paths. And I'm like, oh my God, could you imagine? Imagine if you were like besties with Andrew
How are you
Schultz.
in the same circles, but you never cross paths?
She's got a pretty big circle.
Sounds like a lie.
Well, I mean, it might be. Let's
All
bring
you have to
her
do is
on.
go to a show. He played every night in New York.
It's like friendship groups, right? It's like you can be in a friendship group and not bump into someone.
and
like,
have somebody that is in the other friendship group.
yeah, he's probably
a degree away
He's
that,
probably performing all the time.
Exactly. Go see him. Insert yourself into the sphere. Anyway,
I don't think that's her personality, but fair play.
fair enough.
He was so good. Man. For anyone who doesn't know Andrew Schultz, by the way, he's a New York comedian, absolutely hilarious. Had this weird thing whereby Netflix offered him a special, and then he was a bit too controversial for them, so
Yeah, they
they
canceled.
canned it, and he just chucked it on YouTube and went viral.
Yep. Worked out for him.
Such a cool story.
Yeah, worked out for him.
I want to do
remember
that.
hearing his first thing on Spotify, which was 5 shows in 5 nights, 5 shows in 5 hours.
Oh,
And he made a Spotify thing about him doing 5 shows in New York in 5 hours, 5 sets in 5 hours. Sorry,
30-minute sets?
I think they may have been longer than that, or
How
about
would you
that.
get between?
They may have been about that length, but it was cuts of them. It wasn't the
I
whole
see.
thing. So they recorded parts of it. So it'd be
I see.
15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15. It was a 45-minute or an hour thing.
Okay.
And it
He's
was
a Superman.
it was really good. It was really good.
If he can get between New York sets in 15 minutes.
They got a subway, You could literally just go from 10 to,
Look, I've been playing
2
a lot of
a.m.
Spider-Man 2 recently. I know it takes a long time to get from one end of the city to the other. I know.
Okay.
Even if you're swinging.
Okay.
I don't. I've been to New York once and I was very young.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of them near each other as well.
Probably. And
I
all the
don't think
comedy
it's-
shows are next door to each other.
Yeah,
You'd
I don't think
assume.
it's a big, it's I'm in Queens and I'm in Brooklyn. No. Yeah, it was
He was
really
great,
cool.
man. He
It
was
was
so
really
good
cool.
live.
It was fun.
Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it. We took
Yeah.
our respective partners.
We did.
Yours didn't have as good a time as mine did.
Well, she did have a good time
Did you?
and a good sleep.
Until
That's
she
what-
fell asleep.
That's why we stayed out so late that night, because Gail had a nap in between.
Oh my God, she had a proper cat nap.
Yeah,
She was out for an hour.
She was actually pretty pissed about it. She's like, I can't believe I did that. I actually really want to see it.
She rocked up and just had a few drinks though, so
Had a few drinks,
no
and then I
wonder.
also she also may have had a puff of the magic dragon.
Wowza. That's
Yeah.
illegal over here, DL. That is illegal in Australia. Nobody's allowed to do that.
Should we blurp that? You can just beep, a beep of the magic beep beep. Anyway, she fell asleep.
Brilliant.
For not the first time either at a comedy show.
Such a good comedian
She's
as well. I
been-
can't believe it.
She fell asleep at Izzy's on Sorry. She's fallen asleep at this.
Oh, she
She
did.
may have passed out for a bit at the one. What is the one we
Dave
saw?
Chappelle?
No,
We've seen some good comedians, man.
Guy that talks like this, and it's everything's a monologue with his hands.
Oh, the white guy. I forgot his name.
Yeah, I forget his name. I always forget his
We've
name.
talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, anyway, she fell asleep in that guy, I think, for a little bit as well.
He's like so punchy as well. I'm surprised
she's got
fall asleep
sleeping challenges. Narcoleptic, is that
not necessarily?
Is that a thing?
He just falls asleep out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Narcoleptic. Bless
But
her.
it was pretty cool, man. What have you been up to, man? What have you been watching? Got any recos? Any
Well, let's
critical
ask
thoughts?
the listeners before we do that.
Okay.
DL, tell me how many stars you'd give this podcast if you had the opportunity.
What depends on my mood, I guess. Right now, because you're asking, I'm gonna lie and say I'd give it fucking 10 stars. Divided
Give
by
it 20
2.
stars.
5 stars.
5 stars, baby. Look, if you give us 5 stars, that'd really help. We would really appreciate it, and it means we can keep making this nonsense.
Not really. We could still make it even. If
We'd probably still. You're right. We would make it regardless, but it would help us. We would really like that.
Haters.
And there will be time codes in the description, as always, provided by a friend of the show, Mr. Matthew Bliss, who's a podcasting master. So if you want his details and you are interested in making your own podcast, hit him up. We'll give you his details at the end of the show.
Yes.
What have you been up to, DL?
This
is a weird energy today. I'm liking it. It's different. It's not our usual high energy.
Okay.
It's almost like a nervous energy. I'm confused by what's happening.
Do you think I'm going to stab you?
It's a bit manic. Yeah, you like
I'm
that.
telling you, watch
You like
out,
that
man.
robot in Futurama that's like, I got the knife. I'm going to stab you.
What's going to happen, dude? You don't know. Be on your toes, man.
What have you been doing, buddy? What have you been up to?
I watched Beauty and the Beast.
The new one?
The new one.
With Emma Watson?
Yeah, it was like kind of like a 1-2. Like it was like a...
Oh my God, you watched
the
both?
old veto, non-veto. Like I wanted something, she wanted something, so we just went back to back. My one was the Sound of Metal with Riz Ahmed. It won a couple Academy Awards. It's on Amazon. It's an Amazon original.
Well, hang on a sec. Let's go back. Let's talk a little bit about Beauty and the Beast, the new version.
Sorry, I'm skipping around.
What's the big difference? What's changed?
The singing's not as good. There is a couple song edition that I did quite like.
Oh yeah.
I actually always found that to be one of my favorite. I don't know if that says something.
Beauty and the
about me.
Beast?
Yeah.
Really?
Does that say something about me that I'm like a fucking kidnapper.
Very probably. Yeah. There's an animal inside you.
Anyway, like I just think it's like one of the tightest Disney movies. So I was like down to watch it because I was like, if I have to choose one of the Disney movies that Gil's got, this is the best one. Tightest with some of the best like music. I quite like it.
You know, I'm not a Disney guy. The original Disney's. Like I've seen some of them.
It's pretty prevalent in your youth. So it's just like I know.
No, I'm saying I don't think I've watched all of them. Like I've watched Aladdin.
Have you seen Beauty and the Beast?
I've seen The Lion King. I've seen the original Beauty and the Beast.
Which won Best Picture?
The new one or the original one?
The original. Before
really? Okay.
Animated film was a thing, so now it couldn't.
Right. Wow. Okay. And I've also seen like the original like Snow White. You know what I think it was, and this I don't think I've ever said this out loud in my entire life. Fantasia scared the piss out of me.
Same, but I
as a
kept
child
going because I'm not a pussy.
Some toxic masculinity over here.
And so far there hasn't been another scary one, so it worked out for me.
I'm just worried there might be. Like I might chuck on, I don't know, pick on Pocahontas, and all of a sudden it turns into fucking, I don't know,
actually
magic and shit, and I'm like, oh my.
There are some scary parts in this one actually.
Which one?
But
which bit?
I could tell you, but it's not really good.
Is it as scary or less scary than Fantasia?
It's definitely less scary than Fantasia. That one devil scene.
You now know all my weaknesses.
Yeah, that devil scene's pretty gnarly.
DL will be like, I need to get Tommy on his toes. You'll just have the music of Fantasia playing in the background while Bruges runs at me. Oh, it's bad. I'll die.
That is your nightmare. No, but dude, it's got Luke Evans who plays Gaston.
Oh yeah, Luke Evans,
and he slays. Like he steals the show. He steals the show. He's very good. And then it's also got Josh Gad as Lefeu, and I think it was like
what? Sorry,
Lefeu. And it was like the first time like a gay person was played in like a Disney movie.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure they pissed off like China for that and didn't get to like air over there.
Everything pisses China off these days.
It was pretty good as far as remakes go, but I think it's just like the original source material is so good. So anyway, I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Do you know the weird fan theory about the original Beauty and the Beast? So you know how all of the everything gets turned into a something, like all the people get turned into a thing.
Inanimate objects.
Yes, inanimate objects. The clocks, the teapot, all that stuff. Yeah, exactly. And there's a child, which is a little teacup, and it's got a big chip out the side of its head. Like the fan theory is that child has some sort of problem, as in is like has a disability, and that's the way of showing it.
If you saw the kid in this new one, I hate to be mean to children, but he did look like he might.
Wow.
Do a Google.
Wow.
Do a Google right now.
It's all right. I don't need to know.
Do a Google.
Wow, this has got some serious acts in it. Just look in the background.
Chip.
It's got Ewan McGregor as Lumiere.
Real.
It's got Ian McKellen in it. It's got Emma Thompson in it.
Yeah, it's good.
My God, this cast, Stanley Tucci, the Tooch.
Chip live animation.
Oh, there's a great shout for a goofy IMDb picture in this. What do you reckon about Rita Davis? This is from, oh my God, this is the oldest picture I've ever seen.
God, that's frightening.
That's basically brought back from black and white.
A horror movie?
So would you recommend the new version of Beauty and the Beast?
Over the old, no, but in general, yes.
Oh,
like he was.
Okay.
He was good. You're telling me that
not over the old.
He doesn't. Yeah, I mean, I think that I believe the fan theory.
Not over the old. How about against all of the remakes of Disney properties you've seen?
Way better than most.
Really?
Of them.
Okay.
Like step up above better than most.
Right.
Yes.
That's fun.
Significantly.
All right. I mean, I'm never going to watch it, but I mean, if girlfriend has a no veto week, I might end up watching it. You never know.
You never know. Anyway, I enjoyed it.
What was the other thing you did?
I
started talking about. I cut you off.
I watched The Sound of Metal.
Okay. What's that about?
And I didn't finish it because it was so boring. It was about
really.
It's Riz Ahmed. If you know who that is, he's in a lot of stuff. He's also in like Star Wars. I think Rogue One, a bunch of other stuff.
Star Wars.
Rogue One.
Yeah, but what is he in it?
He's just like a character. I don't know, some dude, some Imperial pilot. I don't know.
Olivia Cook's in this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do recognize this.
It wasn't. I didn't get to the end, which is probably like makes it a wholesome story, but I was pretty bored.
So can you give me the vague overview? It's
basically a drummer, a metal drummer.
Yep.
Who starts to lose his hearing.
Yeah. Okay.
Who's an addict.
That's a classic.
And you gotta like watch. And it was so depressing.
Have you ever seen?
Minutes.
Oh, if you want to see the real version of that, you want to watch It's All Gone Pete Tong. Have you ever heard of that film?
I don't want to be depressed, but
it's not. It's brilliant. So I'm going to tell you this one thing about it, and it's a little spoiler, but his cocaine addiction in the film is manifested by a giant rabid like badger. Jesus. That's all you need to know. It's
pretty good.
Fucking mad.
Sounds
it's great.
Good.
It's a DJ who's in Ibiza and he's losing his hearing.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice story. I highly recommend watching it. Like it's funny. Like, it's funny. It's in that era of like British movies sort of around Lock, Stockish type time. So it's low budget, but at the same time still is really good.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend watching that.
No, I
better than this by the sounds of it.
I mean, this got like 1 Academy Awards, but I was just bored. I'll finish it because I put in 45, but I just couldn't do it in one sitting. And then you'd be super excited to know.
Please tell me
that I finished. I think I'm on episode 2 of Invincible.
Oh wow, the first series. My man.
I gotta be honest. The first like 15 minutes of the first episode, I was like, "What the hell am I watching?"
You've got to
because it's like purposely trying to act like a 90s kids cartoon.
Totally.
I was like, I can't.
It's 45-minute episodes though. That's the hard bit. You got to realize.
Like, I couldn't, and I got through like 30. I stopped, and then all of a sudden you get to like I don't want to spoil.
Big spoilers for the first season of Invincible.
For the first episode.
Well, yeah,
first episode.
It goes through the whole season, though, like the ramifications.
Okay. First, by the end, and so it's like this happy go lucky cartoon, and you're like, what the hell am I watching? And then all of a sudden at the end, the guy that's like been put up as the pinnacle of the entire like Superman, Aquaman crew, whatever, basically the Superman equivalent.
No, he's a bit of a lone wolf.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. He has like a team around him, and the archetype is he's Superman.
Let me set the scene for you very quickly. So in this world, there are superheroes, lots of superheroes.
Yes.
It's animated, right? And the character Omni-Man is their version of like Superman, except he is ancient and unbelievably powerful and well trained, and you see him as the hero of the world.
Yes.
And then there is a team not dissimilar to like the Justice League that gets together.
That is around him, and it's like they're already there. Like
yes,
the first episode,
everything is settled,
have a history
everything's
together.
Ready to go, and then at the very end, almost as the credits are finished
of the first episode, he just fucking murders all of them,
murks them, like without like hesitation.
Yes,
it's brutal.
Also, like the fish guy was never going to stand.
Never ever. I don't even remember who they were, to be perfect. There's one who comes back later on. It's not really spoiled. It's called Immortal, for God's sake. But like one who comes back, but yeah, none of them are anywhere near as powerful as this guy. The things that you find out about that character as the season progresses, like chef's kiss, beautiful.
Well, he just like woke up, so I'm watching post that. He's like training his son.
Yeah. It gets significantly.
There's a voice actor in this that I love. It's the guy. It's the from the league, Ravi. You wouldn't know, but it's the guy that's dating the chick that I imagine Invincible is gonna have a crush on.
Which
The
one?
annoying one that's like in his little crew of superhero people.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, he doesn't end up dating one of the superheroes.
Well, you get they go to the same high school, and there's another guy in that crew, and then there's the robot, the other guy that's super obnoxious.
Do you mean the guy who's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine? You mean Jason Mantzoukas?
Yes, I meant Jason Mantzoukas.
My God, I love his voice in this, and he's so annoying.
His voice is the same in everything, though.
Yeah, but he weirdly suits like a teenage boy. Is that weird to say out loud?
I guess, but kind of. But you're also like, why is this the most obnoxious teenage boy ever?
It's so obnoxious. That's a great character. And it's interesting because Omni-Man's murdered the actual group, the actual version of the Justice League. So these are all like kids. And they're all trying to save the world. And they're all like, what the fuck is going on? It's great. It's really like, I'm excited to see you progress with this show.
I'm pretty stoked to watch it. I've also been watching 1884. I love a freaking Western, and this one is
so much this week.
Good. It's so good.
So would you recommend Invincible off the first 2 episodes to our listeners?
I would, yeah. All right.
I did a couple of cool things this week. Yeah, I think these are very different. The first one's kind of in my wheelhouse, but we'll get there. So I watched a thing. It's a new Netflix documentary. It is called Get Gotti. So, it's a little bit self-explanatory, if I'm perfectly honest with you. It is about the FBI effectively trying to bring down John Gotti, who's a mob boss, right, in the 80s, I want to say. Pretty sure it's the 80s. I think I kind of vaguely knew the story, but there's a lot of, like, infighting in the police in it, which is kind of fascinating. So, like, the FBI were after him, the New York police were after him, like, other government agencies were after him, and they're all kind of like, who's going to get him first? Yes. And no one can quite lock him down. Really, quite interesting the way they got him in the end. I'm not going to ruin it for people, but I kind of like learning about how these guys got to power. So his way of getting to power, way different to anyone else's that I've seen personally. The old leader of the mob was like threatened by him because he was an up and comer, and instead of giving him the opportunity to like for the mob boss to kill him, Gotti just killed him in front of his favorite restaurant. Just like got some dudes to go and whack him. Just madness. Like the first episode, you're thinking it's going to be, you're going to be learning about everyone and what's happening, and then just whacked immediately.
Whack them.
I was like, it's only got a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not like special, but I enjoyed it. Nice. It's only like 4 episodes, I think, as well. I actually fell asleep during the third one, so I don't really remember what happened in the third episode, but the ending was good.
That's awesome. I watched a bit of Wrexham, too. I did so much shit.
You did so much shit this week.
Yeah, it's because I was hungover that day.
Wrexham's great.
Yeah, it's good.
We've just finished the second series.
Nice.
Good.
I kind of like that I don't know what's going to happen. Like, it would suck to watch football and have it be spoiled.
I know. I do follow them now.
But even then, like, you don't watch their league.
I see the highlights and stuff. I always watch the highlights.
Did you always or just now?
Since I started watching the first season. Yeah. So not always. They've sort of become one of my, like, the teams I like follow. I have, like, teams dotted around that I follow because soccer, unlike American sports, it's so global. You can just follow teams. I have a Spanish team. I have a German team. So I have like teams I follow. Yeah, but it
becomes so confusing because you don't know any of the other teams they're playing.
I do. Yeah, I do. I follow. I play a lot of like football games and stuff as well. So I know what's happening. I'm into it.
Well, they're in rest of world.
They are rest of world. So here we go.
All right, Paul Mullen. I cut you off. Anything else you've been watching?
Yeah, the other thing. I think you're gonna like this one. This is like way out of my like normal wheelhouse. So we were flicking through. I was like, I want to watch something very different. And I was on Stan, favorite of mine. And we came across, do you remember the memes of Daniel Radcliffe in like a dressing gown looking all disheveled with like 2 guns in his hand? So you
Guns Akimbo?
Yeah. You remember the meme? This is from a movie called Guns Akimbo. And it's sort of Daniel Radcliffe in his...
I've seen that one.
Yeah, exactly. It's Daniel Radcliffe in his wild movie era. Like, this is the wild fucking west of movies. This is weird shit. So the premise is, effectively, there is this website in the world. I've forgotten what it's called, but it is like battle royale type thing, but in real life. So they have drones that follow people around and they like try and kill each other in the real world.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Got it.
And they're getting more and more powerful. And Daniel Radcliffe is like, he's a web designer type person. But he's also a bit of a troll online. So he sees this site and he logs on. He starts trolling people and, giving them shit. So this group basically kidnap him. They like nail guns to his hands so he can't use his hands. And then just throw him into the wild and ask one of these other people to try and kill him. It is fucking mental.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. I really, it's like, it's all done tongue in cheek. Like, it's not like brutal. It's, everything's, I mean, it was really tropey and really stupid. But man, it's like complete big action nonsense.
Love that.
You know what I mean? It's like if Black Mirror didn't take itself so seriously. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because Black Mirror takes itself so seriously. Whereas this is just like, yeah, fuck, man. Like, I don't know, nail guns to his hand. I don't know. It's like, and it's Daniel Radcliffe. So it's interesting seeing him doing something a bit different. I still don't like him. I still think no, he's fine. But like as an actor, I still don't love him as an actor. But yeah, like it's certainly interesting. And I'd recommend if you were looking for something, I don't know, wildly different.
I guess like that is something that would be hard to convince my partner about.
Oh, no chance.
It's kind of like
it's funny because you were talking about no veto.
I'm hungover.
Yeah. It's funny you were talking about no veto because this was my no veto, and a partner, she enjoyed it. Like she didn't hate it. She loves dumb action films. So for me, this was me getting some weirdness out of my system.
Fair enough.
It had the person from did you watched Ahsoka, right? It had the person from Ahsoka in, Sabine Wren, the sidekick, whatever she is.
Yeah, she's cool.
She was in it.
She was a bit annoying, and
she didn't really have a character towards him, did she? Guys, look, if there's anything you've been up to that you'd recommend, please hit us up. We love it when you do. You can get us at podcastassemble or thepodcastassemble@gmail.com. You can find us on our website, www.podcastassemble.com. All our details are there. You can send us stuff. We love it when you do. Tell us what you think about the Marvels. I'm getting a lot of comments on my YouTube video about the Marvels at the minute.
People are engaged.
I've saved some for you at the end. I've got some content for you at the very end of this. Why don't you then? Yes. Preface our main topic, dear.
It's the main topic theme.
I mean,
I just did it for you.
Yeah. What can be said? Another Marvel movie. This one you didn't really need to watch the preambles for, apparently, because I didn't, and I didn't feel like I missed anything.
Why don't we talk about that? This is officially the lowest grossing MCU movie in its opening weekend, making only $47 million, which is bad when it's got a $200 million budget. And it comes against the background of, a lot of things, like the movie getting cut down, the writer's strike, all these things have affected this movie. So we're going to do pretty quick non-spoilers, I'd say, because a lot of the stuff we want to talk about is spoilery, but we will do non-spoilers and spoilers. But before we do, let's do our stupid plot summaries.
Yeah, dude, I'm ready to go.
Hit me.
Dumb summary. Another zero stakes Marvel movie. Just like, it's pretty fucking...
I mean...
It's what it is.
Yeah, it's not a terrible thing.
I didn't say anything about good or bad, but it is another zero stakes movie.
Zero stakes.
Yeah.
All right. Mine is, after a cryptic fortune-creating moment, a young girl finds she switched places with her mother figure. They're forced into other situations until a solution can be found. In the process, they develop a new sense of respect and understanding for one another. Is this the Marvels? Or is this the plot of Freaky Friday?
Yeah, seriously.
You tell me.
Yeah.
So this is from director Nia DaCosta, and a fun tidbit about that. Nia DaCosta actually took this movie to pay off her student loans, and the fee she got wasn't enough to pay off her student loans.
Jeez.
Fucking hell, Marvel. Pay your creators, man. Jesus.
Jeez.
Like, that's terrible. You give her $200 million and I'd siphon it off. I'd be like, I'll keep
I guess they didn't make much money on it.
I'll keep $1 million of that for myself. No, well, it's bringing the old crew back. I say that, actually. One of the key things that I've heard about this film is, I'm getting ahead of ourselves here, but like one of the key things I've heard about this film is people are going in and the regular audiences are saying, who the fuck are all these characters? People who just follow the movies, maybe aren't even necessarily following the movies. They just want to see a good superhero movie. And then you're expected to know who Monica Rambeau is, who Kamala Khan is. And then on top of that, you've got Carol Danvers, who's Captain Marvel, and then Nick Fury. Like, it's kind of bringing a crew together, but people don't know who some of these characters are.
They're all like one trick ponies. They've been in one Marvel movie each. Like Captain Marvel, I guess, has been in 2, but barely. Right?
Kinda. Yeah.
2, but like really 1.
Yeah, really 1. I mean, she's the star of 1, and she was in Endgame, and
that's it.
She was at the end of... No, she wasn't at the end of Infinity War.
She was in something else, but for like 5 minutes.
She wasn't.
No, he tries to call her.
Yeah. I mean, no, it's really interesting, like the reception this is getting, because I'm an apologist, all right? I'm going to throw this out there right now, and you are not.
No, I'm not. I can't fucking handle this mediocrity anymore.
All right.
I can't fucking handle it, although I have hope.
Well, let's talk then.
Given the end credit scene, I have hope.
Well, we'll get there. As friend of the show Reeks brought back last week, shout out to friend of the show Reeks and our episode on The Dark Knight, he brought back goofy IMDb pictures. So I'm here with one for you, dear. So our current MVP, if you remember, is William Fichtner, who is the bank manager in The Dark Knight, who's sucking on a lemon. That's exactly what he's doing, my man. He's sucking that lemon. And we have a challenger from this movie. So this is the bad guy of the piece, Ben, who is Or Ashton, who I am not 100% sure what is going on in this picture, but that is her IMDb shot.
What's that movie that's like the horror movie? Midsommar.
Oh, he's very Midsommar,
she's
isn't
in
it?
Midsommar.
Or what was the one we watched recently with Nick Cage?
Both of them should run.
Yeah, not The Happening. What was the one we watched with Nick Cage? The Wicker Man.
Yeah, watch out for the bees.
It's very that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
It's pretty disastrous to have that. It's not like a terrible picture. She's just in like festival gear, kind of looking off into the sunset or something. Yeah. Not really though, because it's a white background. It's kind of like you are a lead in this movie. You might want to,
have a regular picture of yourself in IMDb.
Weird. Just not make a really bad choice. So
DL, who do you put as our current goofiest IMDb picture?
I think that's pretty goofy for a lead. It's not the goofiest picture, but for the lead of this movie, it's like she knew it was going to be bad. She didn't want to be associated with it.
Fabulous. William Fichtner, you're out, man. You had a 1 week reign. We've had some pretty long reigns, to be honest. We've had some pretty good, goofy IMDb pictures.
Wasn't there a guy named like Jared or something?
Oh, I can't remember his name.
Timothy or
the best
something.
I've still got just a picture of that random dude on my phone.
Poor bloke.
I need to
talk about him.
I'll find out who he is and we'll bring him back. Excellent. So what's the plot then, mate? What are we talking about in this film? What happens?
I guess like let's start with there's some kind of disturbance in the force. Space or whatever the hell we're doing. Fury's like, oh, I felt a vibration.
Dre texted me about this week, and it was pretty down on this film, and I just was like, yes, let the hate flow through you.
Seriously, dude.
I was like, do it.
No, Nick Fury feels like a finger up his bum or a vibration or something. He's like, oh god, better call Miss Marvel. He's like, investigate this vibration in the space-time continuum.
Investigate this vibration in my bum.
Yeah, and she's like, I am not a proctologist. But Nick, I will investigate this little time blip or whatever.
Why don't you get Ant-Man to go up there?
Yeah, exactly. Ant-Man knows this space.
He ain't doing no shit now.
I know what you guys do.
I've watched The Boys. I know what you do.
Yeah, you know this. It's cross-world multiverse. I've seen this story. Anyway, she investigates.
Just don't sneeze.
Really gross. And discovers the other side of some thingamajig, some time hole.
So what happens?
Warp space.
What happens when you don't watch every piece of MCU media? Is you miss big things, like for example, the bangle that Ms. Marvel has.
Yes, but the bangle is what Ms. Marvel has. But not Ms. Marvel. Captain Marvel investigates basically a wormhole in the universe that was created by what we find out to be
Dar-Ben,
the Kree leader, who found the other bangle, which, I didn't know it was another one, but it's not that hard.
Jay was like, that's a second one.
It's not that hard to figure out because, we've seen this movie before. It's, there's another one. There's two. One of our people, they want the other one. They're going to try and find it. Anyway, this thing allows her to move and manipulate time and space. She has a motivation for doing this.
She has a motivation.
Doesn't she?
Singular.
It's very singular.
We're going to save that for spoilers, I think. So the basic premise of this, long story short, after Dre's meandering nonsense.
Well, and then they all get the powers, it switches.
They're all after the bangles, right? Yeah. They're all after the MacGuffin. Everybody wants to make sure that no one has both of them, especially not Dar-Ben, the bad guy. And in her having it and playing with lightness powers, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel, and Monica Rambeau's powers get intertwined.
I can't even explain this. Like, that's why you're asking me to do the plot. Basically, because they all involve light and matter, which is like everyone.
Oh, funny that.
Their powers get intertwined, so every time they use them, they switch places. So the first half of the movie,
it's a lot of fun, man.
It's actually quite funny. They're all jumping around. There's a lot of family humor. As she's investigating why there's this gap in space-time, she keeps like transporting this poor high school student into the middle of an alien war zone, which was like quite good. Like the first 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I was laughing. I was enjoying it. Gail loved it. She went with me. Like it was a family-friendly affair.
I think for me, the marketing campaign for this was just it just was non-existent. So I didn't know what I was really going into. Well, sorry, let me retract that a little bit. First trailer showed me absolutely everything that was going to happen in this film. And then after that, there wasn't really a marketing push. So when that final trailer came out, I was so just bewildered at what was happening. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm so in for this. Why not? Going with zero expectations.
The trailer was good. It was like it was basically like mostly about the good part of the movie with a really good soundtrack. Who doesn't love the Beastie Boys?
Everybody loves the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
But when you put it against this movie, you're like, oh, come on, guys.
I don't know, man.
Well, I'll tell you what worked for me in this
it.
film. I'll tell you what worked for me in this film was the relationships between the characters. I don't think they fully worked them out, and I don't think it was quite explored as deeply as I'd have liked it to. But I kind of liked when you got to the point and you saw them, you know, they'd done their bit of training and they could jump, they could switch when they knew they wanted to switch.
I don't know about the relationships. What I think that, like, I guess their like on-screen chemistry wasn't bad.
Sure.
Except for like
Maybe that's what I'm talking
Yeah, their
to.
chemistry wasn't bad. Especially like Brie Larson and Kamala Khan or whatever. Like
Iman Vellani.
Yeah.
She's great in this. Let's talk about
she carried it, really.
Let's talk about characters for a bit then, because I think we sort of lean into that anyway. But like Iman Vellani is quite possibly the most committed member of the Marvel universe right now.
Yes, and you can tell.
She fucking loves it.
And
it's
earnestness matters, as Captain America proved. He proved it, bro. He proved it. So did Tony Stark. Like, you got to be earnest.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that look like they're taking a fucking paycheck in these movies, dude.
Big time. Absolutely. And I agree. I think she has a real earnestness, like you say, which it's nice to see. And she writes comics for Marvel now. Like, she's genuinely like super into the character.
I didn't know that.
It's interesting you say that, because I actually think Brie Larson was really good in this. She's getting a ton of hate online.
I didn't think she was bad.
She's getting a ton of hate online.
I actually liked her way
reason.
more in this than the last one.
Same. But I think the problem with the writing of this is that she's just written to sort of stand and scowl 99% of the movie.
Yeah, no, she does. Like, they just butchered her entire story and motivations and just yada yada'd it. And then, but yeah.
I'm going to save a lot of the motivation stuff and the themes and all that type for the end of the... Well, when we get to spoilers. Because
that's where it should be discussed.
If you've seen my YouTube video, you'll know I actually have a lot of things to say about this. There's so much potential in this film that wasn't fully worked out. And I guess one of the things that kind of leans into that is the lead villain, Dar Ben. So we talked about her in Goofy IMDb picture. I feel like there's so much they could have done with that character, and there's so much untapped potential, and she just wound up being like another Thor the Dark World villain, or you know what I mean? Like, there's like a trail of these villains now where you can see something that should be done, and you're like, that doesn't really go anywhere, does it?
No. I guess that's the biggest thing that's lacking in a lot of these Marvel movies is like any kind of intriguing villain.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me anything.
The best villain, I think, so far of the last many.
MODOK.
MODOK was good.
No.
MODOK was amazing.
I'm not a dick.
Comical, I would say. No, I mean, like, Kang's obviously pretty good in
just not in real life.
Not in real life. He's a real life villain. No, just in Loki. But like, I mean, of the mediocre ones.
Sure.
Like the ones that weren't performant, but like still had a good. I think that like.
Who wins the Adam Driver Award?
The dad of the rings, the Shang-Chi's rings.
Oh, yeah, he was good. Yeah,
I liked him as a villain.
The Mandarin.
Yeah, the Mandarin.
That was one of the better ones, though, from Phase 4. Like, that was one of the better films.
I mean, when that's the better one, you're like, But you're right. It is significantly better than a lot of these other ones. It is what's missing, I think, a lot of the time. And she was like put on an intriguing performance. I just wish we got more of the backstory.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't vibe with her at all. From the minute she was on screen, I was like, why would you be scared of her? Like, what is it?
Like, that's not
she didn't
really
seem particularly like overly. No offense to not talking about the person, but the character wasn't written to be particularly overly intelligent. She wasn't intimidating.
Yeah,
like,
you've convinced me. It's more like
because she had the hammer. Like, you're
100% right. I kind of actually just like the idea of the Kree and wish we explored it more.
Sure.
As a potential to make a good villain. I didn't actually really like her.
No.
Like, I think you're right. There was a bit of a, what's it called? Projection there.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, for me.
My problem with this film is that I projected loads onto it, but none of it was like projected back at me. But I'll tell you one thing that I did really dislike about this film was Samuel L. Jackson. Now, I'm not saying him, I'm saying how he was written. So you didn't actually watch the Secret Invasion show.
No.
Fair enough.
It's funny.
It was absolute trash.
I just missed him, I think. Anyway, go ahead.
No, interesting. So the way he's written in this is that he's almost like comedy value. He's almost like, he's a bit of fun. He's like wacky Nick Fury. In Secret Invasion, which was meant to happen just before this, he was like this, underground spy thriller type who was, living undercover all the time.
Yes.
Was like fucking hard as nails. Yes. Everyone was scared of him. And then in this, he's like, I don't know, he he must have a sombrero on and be cracking jokes. You know what I mean?
He's kind of got a beer belly. He's just hanging out. I honestly, I just missed him enough that like it was nice to see Nick Fury again.
But I've just seen him in a show that he wasn't good in.
I guess I hadn't seen that show.
Yeah, I don't.
That's the difference, dude. That's the
good.
oversaturation of a good thing. You know what I mean? Like,
I got to say, the pacing of this was a bit all over the place. Like, there's a lot of stories about this film being chopped up in editing, and there's so many times where I'm like, oh, explore that some more, and then they just don't. So one of the things that 100%. A lot of people are talking to is they go to this planet where everybody sings. So like the way they communicate is singing. I like it's a big swing, man. Like it's a
big swing. It was funny.
It's so different.
Different.
Yeah, but there's bits needs. Where it keeps cutting to like Iman Vellani and Monica Rambeau's character, and you're going like, surely like they should be doing something here.
There's something else, and they're just kind of like,
yeah. I feel like there are chunks of that were just chopped out,
and there's just like they're like in the like elevator waiting room.
Yeah,
you're right. It's like what are they doing? It's like they're on the when you're like you watch a live play and you see like the people to the left of the main character ad-libbing and like they're saying something. They don't have lines. They're pretending to talk. You can't really hear them. It's like that for like 20 minutes.
You know what it reminds
15
me
minutes.
You know when you watch when you see like film clips where it's like someone's doing a flying kick, but they're not actually near the person and they miss completely, but the guy still flies
like
backwards.
Yeah.
It's like it's that. They're just there for no fucking reason. And like there's just so much of this film that seemed like the first 30-40 minutes of it was like really interesting and really cool, and they did the switchingness and all that, and they had to learn things about each other that maybe they didn't want to learn. And then it gets to the next 40 minutes and you're just like, all right, so it's just going to do the Marvel thing again.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then how about like this like weird like beef that Captain Marvel and
Monica Rambeau have.
It's just kind of like feels like they just added that in and then cut parts. Like that feels like there was more shit and they just like either
I feel like they
didn't get to it or cut it. Like
totally. Some of the character motivations in this are just muddled. And this is one of the shortest MCU films as well. I think it's the shortest.
I was okay with it.
I wanted to see these things fleshed out.
No, you didn't.
We're going to talk about this when we get to watch. In fact,
no, you didn't. You just wanted it to be better, but it didn't need to be longer to be better.
They needed to flesh out some of this shit. Some of it was utter nonsense.
Agreed. Just
because it was cut badly.
No, just like do less Marvel shit and like it doesn't need to be longer.
I tell you one thing.
The answer taught me you cannot go back on your word. Every time we have a Marvel movie, you're like, why is it so long? Then they finally make a short one. You're like, it needs to be longer. No. It needs to just be better.
They need
longer.
To use the time more effectively.
Yes. That doesn't make it mean longer.
Give me an extra 20 minutes and build out this character some more. Like, that's fine to me, as long as you're doing things that make sense.
No.
You know what I mean? Also, let's go back to the villain. Why does it just have to be a generic strong person, as always? Like, they punch hard. Great. They've got a hammer. Wonderful. Give me something different. Give me someone intelligent. You know what I mean? Like,
because their whole villain arc is generic. They didn't show us create.
They're so generic.
They didn't show the creation of the villain. They didn't show like the beginning.
I mean, they did, but it was like 3 seconds.
15 seconds.
Yeah, it was
that doesn't count. That doesn't count. Every good villain, Loki. Fuck, I'm about to rant right now. Loki, Thanos. Name another great fucking Professor X's and what is his name? The guy that can do the Magneto. Every villain, dude, is built over like movies and movies, episodes and episodes. You give me 15 seconds of a stone falling on this woman and you tell me that is enough for me to give a fuck? It's not. Fuck Marvel. It's so bad. All right, I'm done. Sorry.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. That's going on our Instagram. Oh, it's brilliant.
So bad.
Fuck Marvel.
It's so bad.
That's your slogan for the week.
Fuck for the last phase, dude.
I mean, yeah, wow, it's really ticking on, isn't it? What do you think of the action? Cookie cutter is a word that comes to mind.
No, the action when they were switching around was quite fun.
Sorry, you're right.
And then after that, it turned into like a crappy Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
I thought it was a good way of sort of making Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, a bit less powerful.
Yeah,
she's that Superman. She's too powerful for her own good. But if she's not, like, if she's switching out every time she uses her powers, she's a bit like nerfed almost. She's a bit less.
Yeah, it honestly didn't feel like the switching of the powers was helpful for them.
No, that's why I liked it.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's kind of like every time it switches, it's like, fuck, dude. Like, we got to deal with this little high school girl now. Like, she's going to die.
She's going to die. But you say that, though. I thought...
But it was like... It was creative.
Yeah. Ms. Marvel was way more fleshed out than Monica Rambeau. When Monica Rambeau was in the fight, I was like, I didn't get what her powers were. What did she do?
Like, her powers are... She just, like, goes translucent for, like, a little bit. That's, like, her power.
Great.
Not even that. It's just, like... the fact that she's like so blasé, like, I don't want to be a superhero. I don't call me a superhero. It's like that's her whole personality. It's her whole personality. What else do they talk about?
Well, she had a falling out with Captain Marvel, and that's kind
They
of
don't talk about it.
They don't get in. They don't go deep enough on it. It's when her mother passed away, which was in one of the TV shows. Maybe that was WandaVision. I can't remember at this point. There's too much content, man. It's hard to keep up with, and this is literally what we do
with like peripheral characters.
This is the point for us. We sit here and talk about this shit, and if we can't keep up with it, fuck, man. Imagine if you're just a dude who rocks off the street and was like, "Yeah, that's a fun-looking movie. I'll give that a go."
Well, not many people did, apparently.
So, yeah, that's actually very, very right. Let's do tones and themes then. You know what? Because you don't like this, and I'm going to defend it. You do what your tones and themes are, and I'm going to do what the tones and themes should have been for this film.
What are the tones and themes? I guess there's like a theme of redemption.
Okay.
A theme of like facing your mistakes, facing the consequences of your actions. Don't run away from your problems. Really boring ass one-dimensional shit.
Pretty generic, yeah. All right.
There's more. There could have been more.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple. So guilt, exploration of guilt should have been a theme of this. Just wasn't. Just skipped over. And then there's one which is you can't save everyone when you're the hero. Fucking great thing to like expand on. Why didn't they do more of that?
Yes.
And then the traps of hero worshipping.
Yes.
Skipped straight over. Should have been like
also
center and prime of this movie.
Also like exploring the lengths of redemption. How far can you redeem?
Exactly.
Would some things are some things not redeemable to some people?
Right.
Very relevant.
It's a Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're all the good guys. We're the good guys. All right. What are your 3 best and 3 worst, big guy?
Monica Rambeau's thickness.
Fuck's sake.
Unique tone and moments.
I give you
for a Marvel movie. The song Planet was a highlight.
Yeah. That was weird.
And honestly, I gotta say, Kamala Khan.
She's my first one.
She's good.
Iman Vellani.
Yeah, she's good.
She's my first one. So committed.
She's committed to the
so
fucking role.
earnest, like you say. I love
and
that
like
word.
Oftentimes too much, but like earnestly too much in a way that's like, it is funny. Like, she is funny. Like I feel like if
she's in. She's 110% in.
I feel like if you paired her with someone like Tom Holland, like it'd be fire. You know what I mean? Like that
makes so much sense.
If
you know what they tried to do?
With like better actresses or actors, like the dynamic she was carrying.
Dude,
shit.
Brie Larson's an Oscar winner. She's a good actor.
No, I'm not saying that.
I tell you what it
better
is.
Characters. Like,
yeah, I'll tell you what it is. They tried to make it so that she's the fun one, and Brie Larson was the serious one.
I don't mind that either.
They tried to buddy cop it, and it just didn't work because Brie Larson is inherently a fun character.
Well, it's like. It's not that it didn't work. I think it's like I actually didn't mind their dynamic together. It's just like Monica Rambeau just adds nothing. Like seriously, there's just like a vacuum of.
It's like someone for Nick Fury to sit with and just spout exposition.
But like if you added another character dynamic in that 3, I think that even it would have brought more out of Brie Larson as well because she wouldn't have had to just be that. She could be bounce off someone else.
My brain went really weird there. I was trying to think who could be that other character, and I could only think of Dar Ben's goofy IMDb picture. And then I just imagined, like, in like Scooby-Doo when they're running between rooms and like they keep switching the person who they're chasing.
Tommy's having a stroke.
What is happening?
Tommy's having a stroke.
My 3 best very quickly are Iman Vellani. She's just fantastic in there.
Yeah.
I liked that they tried some new things. It was very different. It had some, interesting aesthetics as well. And the switching, I like the switching. It was fun at the beginning. Cool. It wasn't really explained.
Bit gimmicky.
They tried. But it was all right. What do you reckon? Worst, mate? What do you reckon?
Monica Rambeau, despite her thickness, is a boring character.
You're all about that thickness.
Extremely boring. The scrolls are just fridged.
Totally fridged.
Just like irrelevant.
It's hard to talk about that because the plan of Dar Ben is kind of central to.
Yeah, but just let's just say they are really irrelevant.
Completely nonsensical.
Without they look like they're going to be irrelevant, and then they're just irrelevant. And then my biggest thing is there's just no fucking stakes.
Or too much stakes.
No.
Because the universe is at stakes.
That's then fine, but the universe isn't at stake. That's the thing. And we'll talk about it more in spoilers.
Okay. All right. I'll give you my 3 words very quickly. The missed potential. Like I mentioned in my what should have been tones and themes, there are things in this movie that would have been great for them to explore. They just didn't. Really frustrating. It still ended up just a standard Marvel movie, even though it had all this potential. And then the characterization of Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury. Like, what are you doing, guys? What are you doing? He was like the linchpin. He was so great. Now what is he? He's a fucking joke. Like, come on. So finally then, we talk a little bit about the critical reception. I'm going to ask you, DL. Firstly, can you guess for me the IMDb score out of 10?
5.
It's bang on 6. So, like, it's getting some all right reviews out there. Not terrible. What do you reckon Rotten Tomatoes is?
Pretty terrible. I think by any standard of measure.
I think 6 is all right. What do you reckon
when
Rotten Tomatoes?
When you get a 60% out of 100 on a test, do you pass or do you fail?
I actually don't know.
In America,
that would be
fail.
That would be fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
Pretty sure that's either a D or an F.
It would be fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, DL. What do you reckon the Rotten Tomatoes is?
So that tomato is dangerously close to rotten. You're going to eat that, you might be sick.
What do you think it is? Percentage.
That'd be 65.
Ooh, 62. You were close. You got it last week, if I remember correctly. And finally, our favorite Letterboxd, which is always
3.5.
3.5. What do you reckon that is out of 5?
This week it's 2.8.
Oh, it's 2.9.
Oh,
you were so close. You almost had it twice. And then finally, we do our rating system. And because the internet is binary, we just say, is this better or worse than the most average movie we know? Which is still being pushed in this case, Aquaman 2018. DL. Is this better or worse than that movie and why?
This is the new standard.
Oh, I don't think so.
This is the new standard.
I think we both have to agree on that for it to be the new standard.
This is my pitch. This is the new standard average movie.
You think it is as average as Aquaman 2018?
No, it's not because of Kamala Khan. But it's still, it's like slightly better.
Yeah. We're talking slightly. I think if I add up all the missed potential in this and like the fact that they at least tried to get into a couple of those things, I start to think, okay, there's actually something there.
Man's not wrong.
You know I'm not wrong. Okay, spoilers. Let's do this. So the main spoiler is that Dar-Ben's plan is hatched because Captain Marvel, after the movie, her first solo movie, rolled titles, she flew back to the Kree world, Hala, and destroyed the AI there. And after that, what happened was the world fell to pieces for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why, but she was going to get her revenge.
Marvel confuses essential information to make the film fucking mean anything and be relevant for plot twists. What is the benefit of us not knowing about this, even though we all figured it out pretty freaking early, probably halfway through?
That's
not knowing that she feels guilt about what she's done as we watch her make every other decision through the movie. The benefit of that is that's the whole point of enjoying the movie, is seeing her go through that. Making that a plot twist services nothing. It just makes it confusing, boring, and not interesting at all.
And I guess
there's no benefit.
Yeah. And I guess it's a case of if you dive into that early in the film, you give that a bit of time, showcase, why she's so angry. And then you think you get that flip on its head, that sort of like a tyrant creates their own worst enemy.
Yes.
But it's the other way around because now the tyrant's the hero.
Or even just like investigating like why her emotional reaction to some things might be because of her own guilt and she's being immature.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't know that because we haven't freaking seen this character since the 70s or whatever. Like none of it makes sense. And then can I just say like fucking kill someone? This is so
me right now. You want me to grab a knife and go
kill someone? Why are all these people surviving? Or like, fuck, make it actually matter the fact that she made this decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a whole civilization dies. Wow, wouldn't that be fun to investigate? Instead, everything's freaking the same again.
So one of the key points I make in my YouTube video about this is that Captain Marvel has to do that. She has to make a hard decision. So what we find out is that Dar-Ben is targeting planets that mean a lot to Captain Marvel. So there's the Kree's new home, the Skrulls' new home world. There is the Sing Song planet where apparently she's a princess. And then there's Earth, right? So she's attacking these 3 planets to revitalize Hala using their resources. So their water, their atmosphere, and their sun. And when they go to the Skrull new home planet, they steal the atmosphere, so all the oxygen, which sounds dumb as fuck. But the reason why I'm giving you this amount of information,
it's like a whoosh. You see a whoosh go through.
Such nonsense.
Kind of like The Happening. A whoosh.
Yeah. The trees are following them. The reason I'm telling you this is because what happens is they realize that they've run out of time. They can't save everyone. They don't have enough time to get people off the planet before it dies. And Captain Marvel has to be a captain and says, we got to leave right now. And Kamala Khan can't understand why she's doing this and leaving people to some fucking horrible fate. And I'm sitting here going, that's interesting. Let's spend the next 20 minutes unpacking that. But no, they get back on the ship, they hug it out, and everything's fine.
Or just make her make a hard decision.
That's what I'm saying. Literally she made a hard decision, but they just skipped over it.
Well, they actually did. Are you talking about when they flee the water world or the other one?
No, the one where all the air was being sucked out, where the Skrulls were living.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But
that was early.
That was like, that's a point. Dive into that. You don't even remember it.
Yeah.
That should be the center of this movie.
Yes.
That should be what it's about.
Yes.
Like the guilt she's feeling because this planet has just been fucking annihilated.
Yes.
It's nonsense.
And also, yeah, totally. And I just feel like there needs to be repercussions. And the repercussion
Totally
cannot be that this character that we haven't barely spent any time with and this other character that we haven't seen are separated. That's
who are we talking
at the
about?
end of the Kamal or Monica Rambeau.
Oh yeah.
And Captain Marvel, like at the end, well, this is another big spoiler, but Monica Rambeau gets stuck in another dimension.
Let's explain why then.
Yeah.
So the idea is that the bands we talked about before, the bangles, not the band,
they
but the
basically
bangles
can help you manipulate time somehow.
So what happens is we find out that the bangle that Kamala Khan has had from her TV show that neither of us watched is part of a twofer. So you get two of them and they create all the space jumps. You know, like when you're in Guardians and you see them jump between different areas of space, they created all of these space bits.
Seems kind of like not really an easy thing to use to jump through space.
No, and what's happening
like that was retcon.
Yeah, it's nonsense. Two bangles.
It's like, why would you put these on to travel through? Like, wouldn't you put it in a ship?
No, what I think it is, it's they've got the power to create the jumps. They don't do the jumping deal.
Like, why would they have the power?
So anyway,
sorry,
Darben's been using one bangle and her own power to create new jumps, which is making the whole of space and time sort of start to become fragile. And the final thing she does is she gets both of them because she beats the three Marvels and creates a big fucking rip in space.
That's going to consume the Earth's sun.
But the thing I don't understand is, right, so she puts both bangles on and dies like almost immediately. And then Kamala puts them both on and she's like, oh yeah, this is fun. Like, what? Like, how come the first one got like torn to shreds and Kamala didn't?
Doesn't make sense. Also, how come if the sun was being sucked into the atmosphere of the Kree, when she's stuck on the other side, she ends up somewhere else?
I don't know. She just evaporates.
Fucking doesn't make sense.
Let's talk about that post-credit scene then. So what happens is Monica Rambeau, she sacrifices herself heroically to save the day.
Not really, because she doesn't die. She should fucking die.
But, so what she does is, so she closes this rip in space by being on the other side of the rip and bringing it all together with the three heroes' powers.
Yeah.
But what I don't understand, DL, is what's she doing on that side? Why don't she just do it from our side? Well, it's not even, like, it's nonsense.
So much nonsense.
So, like, you know what it's trying to do? It's trying to ape what Tony Stark did in the Avengers. You know when he flies up with the nuclear missile, leaves it, and then falls back down? Like, that's the perfect way to do that. But she just decided to stay on that side, and then she closes the... It's weird, man. It's
weird.
It's a bit nonsensical.
It's also like, why not make it so that like Captain Marvel has to do this sacrifice, or like make it so that like it's an actual sacrifice. So like, can we just talk about the fact that she ends up
post credits?
So she ends up, the post credit scene's a pretty big reveal. She ends up in another universe, multiverse, something, and it's one with X-Men, and we get the Beast from the original.
I think it's
Fox?
No, I think it's from Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past X-Men. I forget.
It's the dude who played Frasier. I forget his name.
Anyway, he's we get X-Men all around her, and she's in this new world.
She's in another universe that has the X-Men.
We have a reference to Professor X, right? Like, so really interesting stuff. I think you find a way. You have to do something around Captain Marvel where she's the one having to make the sacrifice because it was her mistake. Like, she's the one that has to redeem it, right? She's the one that feels guilt, and the sacrifice ends up being her power of some kind, which makes some combustion of something or other, jigamagoo, whatever you want to call it. MacGuffin pushes her to another universe where she doesn't have her power.
I think that's really good.
And the loss of her power actually pushes her there. And she's now got to, then she goes through a whole arc of like being normal in a world with X-Men.
That's a good idea.
And there's actual sacrifice, right?
Really good idea.
And then somewhere along the way, Monica Rambeau dies because she's so boring.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to do what they did in the 1990s X-Men cartoon. Do you remember Rogue? She could fly. She had all these cool powers.
Yes.
She actually stole Captain Marvel's powers in that, which is something is really weird and niche, and I should not know this. But that's how she ends up being so hard.
That could be a great, or maybe she becomes, maybe they just convert her to.
I reckon that's what they'll do.
Rogue. Like, I think that would have been interesting, but now Monica Rambeau is there.
I think
she's so irrelevant. Why is she there?
Captain Marvel in the main universe, because I think she's going to lead the Avengers and lose.
Can't you? I mean, that makes sense. But can't you, like, don't you think it's a big mistake having the freaking X-Men be introduced with a character that no one cares about?
And not many people might know.
I think it's just such a mistake.
Yeah.
I think it was like such a like
The deep cut.
I'm pretty stoked that they're introducing X-Men.
Yeah.
But like there was so many cooler ways to do it.
I mean,
that was
look,
pretty like
I'm just stoked they're doing it. Like all they need to do is get the X-Men, the Fantastic Four in there already.
But it's blah.
Ah, well.
It's blah.
Can I ask you 2 questions then before we wrap up this discussion on this pretty average film? Firstly...
Oh, see, I got you around to the idea that it's average.
How much of this did you understand having not watched the majority of the TV stuff? Were there big swaths that you were like...
It's like kind of all the same shit, isn't it? Because there was no stakes, because there was one thing jig and we had to find the other one and the enemy wanted both. It's a really simple story. Like it wasn't, there's no sacrifice. There's no like, I didn't have to have any context. What I would have liked is a movie where we actually get another movie or a show about what Captain Marvel did over those years that we didn't see her.
Just flesh it out in the movie.
Gives us the backstory of the Kree, makes us care about the Kree more, makes us understand the decision she made. Then we live with the guilt in this movie because we see the aftermath, like as opposed to that all happening. Like
the problem we have with the Kree is that in every single film they've been in, they've been the bad guys. Like every single one.
Give us a different perspective on that.
So but what I'm saying is like, yeah, we don't have that. And also like, how am I supposed to then feel bad for this person
100%
in any way?
100%.
So you're just like, all right, kill her. I don't care. Like finish it. The other question I had very quickly there was, you know how the atmosphere gets sucked out of the new Skrull planet and then the water gets sucked off of that sounds weird to say out loud, gets sucked off the surface of the...
Sucked into, not off of.
That was its song planet, right?
If you make it off of, it's sexual. If you make it into,
okay,
it should
sure,
be like pouring water into a cup.
You say however you want to say it. They
You're the one being weird, dude.
They lose all of their atmosphere and stuff and their waters. Are those planets okay?
No,
like, I don't think they go back to it at the end of the film.
No, they're not. They should be dead and we should see it. That's the point.
There's no stakes. All right. Yeah. Finally then, DL, shall we do a little bit of trivia true or false to wrap up?
Why not?
Let's do it. Lashonda Lynch, who plays Monica Rambeau in this movie, her mother in this is actually younger than Teyonah Parris, the actress portraying her daughter.
True.
It is true. Bit weird that when you got an actress playing an older version.
Yeah.
Is that trying to be a bit like, bitch, you look old?
Well, that's what she would have said to her when they met. Oh, also her mom's an X-Man. We didn't talk about that.
Oh yeah, it's whatever. Different character in this. Carol, Monica, and Kamala switching places when they use their powers is actually a homage to Marvel's original Captain Marvel comic series from the 60s and 70s. True, or is that false?
False.
Actually true. In the comic, this version of Captain Marvel, would swap places with his teen sidekick, Rick Jones, great name, whenever he struck the Negabands together. No, Rick Jones makes me think of like, I'm Rick Jones, bitch.
Rick James, mean.
Yeah, I know.
Rick James, bitch.
So, what do you think? Okay, finally then, true or false, DL? Olivia Wilde was originally approached to direct the movie. Is that true or is that false?
False.
Is actually true. Olivia Wilde was previously offered the role of Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy as well. There you go. There you go.
Nothing to do with the question, but...
Nothing to do with the question. All right. You know what I think I'd like to do, DL? Because I told you a couple of times I've got a YouTube video out there. Yeah. This has had the most fucking comments of any YouTube video I've ever got.
Love that.
It's got like a little bit of a clickbaity title, I'm not going to lie to you. It's just called The Marvels, Why You're Wrong.
I mean, that's good.
I think it's... I'm going to stand up for this movie because I think there's potential there. It's just...
Why you're wrong.
Not quite got there yet. So here are some of the comments. Here are some of what people have said. So this is from Hate Prevention 1522. I've gone for a spectrum here, so you get all angles.
Is this an ironic name or is it a...
No, this is actually a very nice one. He says, this was an insanely good movie. I've already seen it twice. Watch me go and see it again. So people like it.
Get a life, dude. Hate Prevention, get a life.
At Pale Moon said, I watched it. It was okay, but it suffers from the same problem every Marvel movie since Iron Man 2. It's mass-produced slop. Oh, killer.
Slop is fair. Slop is a great word for this.
Okay. So Olivia Farr 08 says, this will probably be Madam Web 2.0. Which, I mean, if you've seen that trailer, holy shit.
I don't know. Sydney Sweeney goes a long way for me.
Yeah, not enough to save that film. Holy fuck,
we'll find out, I guess.
Okay, 2 very quick more then. So Benjamin McKay 2860 says, it wasn't that bad. Heaps of issues, sure, in editing, lack of explanations, no identity. I'm like, God, man. But it was entertaining while I watched it. And I think I agree with Benjamin. I think that's a pretty good summation
he was
of
being
it.
sarcastic.
I love that he was like, yeah, there's heaps of issues. Blah, 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 blah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Enter long list and dissertation.
Exactly. Okay, finally, my favorite one thus far was, and my video, I'm quite nice to the movie. Like I feel like there's a good movie in there. Pirate Queen says, this man did some insane mental gymnastics to try and defend this movie. Honestly, I'm kind of impressed, but this film is trash. I mean, I'd love to know what you guys think about this film, genuinely. Like, it's splitting opinions. I feel like the critics hate it. People seem to like it. And ultimately, I found it enjoyable. Like, I was just, like, I didn't have any expectations. I enjoyed it.
I didn't. But
didn't anything.
No, the first 30 minutes I liked.
Yeah, okay.
And I was just kind of frustrated. And, you know, my partner liked it because of the cat scene. So
there was a lot of cats in it. We didn't talk about the cats. I
mean, there was a funny sequence where they're all getting eaten. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, it's fine.
But by then,
we didn't talk about the Flurkins. Such is life.
I was pretty clocked out.
I was pretty done by that point.
Yeah.
DL.
Yes.
Do you want to wrap up the show, and where can they find us?
They can find us at Podcast Assemble on Instagram and thepodcastassemble@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
That's where you can find us. I should know, but I don't, because I'm still learning.
You're a noob.
I'm a learner.
A slow learner.
A big thank you to Matthew Bliss for editing and mastering this week's episode,
As always.
If you'd like to hire someone to edit your podcast, head to MatthewBliss.net and book a consultation today. If you want to hear from him in a couple of his podcasts.
Actually, I don't know if he's going to be doing mass participation for much longer. So if you want to get in now, guys.
Get in now. The Dead Drop.
Yeah, the Dead Drop's
from
back,
my home
baby.
to yours. Either way, an expat, repat podcast where Matt and his wife will share their experiences moving to a new country. Take it, love it, learn.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Live life, learn.
Love, family, laughs.
All of the above.
Wholesome content.
It is very wholesome content. We're making fun, but it's actually really great.
Yes.
You should check him out.
No, for sure.
In fact, if you want to check him out as well, you can check him on Podcasting for Humans. He was on a couple of weeks ago. And watch out, because yours truly might be on there soon too.
That sounds like a spoiler.
The podcast, which is all about podcasting.
Inception. Inception.
DL, thank you for sticking with it, guys. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Until next time.
Tally ho, baby! Latest, Gator.